Hey, this is Toby Ryan, and I'm going to be showing you the DM-307 by Heavyocity. It is a modular synth drum, live percussion, and classic analog synth drum. It's a whole bunch of genre-based kick groove presets here. I'm in dubstep right now, just playing around with some of the kicks. And first up, what I notice is this grid here is a sequencer. What makes this really unique is in the kick, you have this you can sequence in and program in however many kicks you want, and then change up each sample. So for instance, if you wanted, let's turn on the keyboard here so you can see what I'm doing. Let's say you wanted this one here on the C1, you could actually just map all of these to C1, or completely randomize it. You can actually do it for all of these. Let me go ahead and program in some of these, like here, randomize some here, take out the hi-hats, percussion, and some cymbal effects. And go ahead and play. So you can get really unique really quickly. It's totally awesome. So to copy and paste each individual one of these, it's as simple as clicking on one. Let's say you programmed in number 2 and you really like that. You can edit and copy, click on the one you want to paste to, edit and paste. So you can copy and paste out of all of these different loop based. This is more like a 4-bar loop on each one of these. So for instance, you turn on your chainer and turn it on 1. You could then turn to 2 and add another set of different unique patterns for each loop. You can go all the way up to 8, which is really impressive because then you can randomize some of these so you have something different. So you click here and randomize and get some new inspiration this way. Just go in and out of something really different and be very, very creative. Now, down on here are the amp sequence gated rhythmic effects. So if we play this, so you can kind of see what those actually are doing. And you're not stuck with just like a gated rhythmic effect. You can even draw in your own. Have more of a like an envelope type, I guess more of a sidechain. Turn it on. Turn up the rate. You can get some really interesting effects this way and be very creative. So if we jump into the main tab here, we have master effects like delay, modulation. Let's hear what that sounds like real quick. So you have a whole bunch of different delays, amounts, time. You can turn on modulation and have a little bit of a twist kind of type sound to it. It's pretty cool. And now I have on the grid, I kept latching on this guy right here, so he's adding a little extra effect there. So let's go back here, turn on the modulation. Get some really cool textures there. Under the reverb, they have a whole bunch of presets of really interesting, like an Arctic reverb here. Turn up the mix a little bit. You get some really cool cinematic sounds this way. And then you have the distortion, which has like a tone. You can get a really good sweet spot of a distortion here, bass and treble. And then you have the twist and punish knobs up here, which are signature to this series, like the Eon and Damage has the punish. Twist is new, so let's play with that a little bit. And what's really cool is you can right click on these, learn MIDI, and then move the knob you want to do and have complete control over those really easily and efficiently. If you want to turn it off, it's just as simple as right clicking and removing, and it doesn't do it anymore. It's pretty nice. I'm going to go ahead and learn and map this guy. along with the punish knob as well with the same knob, so they work simultaneously as I twist this. And if you're unfamiliar with this this punish knob here, it gives it that thick, full, aggressive sound. If you hear on the grid, let's just play the kick here. It already sounds really great, but then you can just punish it and just go crazy, and it just it's really awesome. Next up is the volume envelopes. We're going to go ahead and play with some of those, and all of these knobs can be learned and adapted to your MIDI controller. So if you wanted this one here, or a couple of these to follow the same. You can just go crazy and map all of these knobs across your macros and just go really insane. It's really, really cool because they mapped to a bank. So the kick bank are all there. We turned off this twist effect, and we'll just turn that off as well. And on the bank, you'll notice this orange line that kind of goes down here. It's showing that you're on a kick bank. You can even go to snare, hi-hats, etc. And on the bank, you have control over the attack, which is pretty cool too. And you can adjust all the bank, or you can adjust individual samples. So if you wanted C1 here to have more of a faster attack, or not at all, you could do that. You can even turn down the release and get that full. Pretty cool. Under the bank here, let's give us back an attack. It's pretty cool. And you can just adjust all of those as you see fit. Now, next up is these the T effects here. You have distortion and lo-fi, and they all can be sequenced, which makes this incredibly powerful. So, for instance, this lo-fi, jump into the advanced, you can see that these knobs here is now being modulated by this particular preset. Now, all of these have their own presets, and they're just lined up, and they sound great. But you can go in here and take the pattern, like pattern here, like more of an LFO, a sawtooth, etc. Or you can just draw in your own and modulate it how you want. Or just apply it across the board. So it's pretty cool. And it's really, really incredibly powerful. Next up are the genres. You have rock and a whole bunch to choose from. Let's go to the retro cleaner here. And if, let's say you like the sound bank, but you wanted the presets from, let's say, the dubstep genre. So what you would do is you would keep this. You would go to the presets up top here and go to the kit groups, find a folder you want to take the grid pattern from, and let's say we got complications like we originally started out with. So all of the kit grooves are centered around the grid mode, which is all pre-programmed in patterns and effects. Next up is the kits, and these guys are more of your production-ready sounds. They're not geared towards the grid, but you are welcome to program in as many as you want, or just go crazy with like a MIDI beat pad. And what's cool in the kits area is you have impacts and elements, but down here you see the standard MIDI kits. This is geared towards a MIDI pad, like a Native Instruments machine, etc., or like an Akai MPC. So you got this, and they're actually set up on the beat pad, and you can just play accordingly. Super nice. I think the lo-fi sounds pretty good too. You have a whole bunch to choose from. Cinetron. There we go. Yeah, all of these have their own effects and stuff just lined up and ready to go. And at the bottom here, you see the loops, loop menus. Let me load up a full loop menu here. All of these are laid out across the keyboard, individual samples. And some of these have their own BPM, and you can actually change that in your host. Again, mine right now it's 140. So let me turn that down a little bit so you can see here the difference. And all of these, you can jump in and out of samples and play them however you want. Then you can take in the mutate. Let's say you didn't want to, or you're not really skilled with like a beat pad. You could then mutate it with just holding down a key, which makes this even more powerful. Let's turn on the mutate. See it jumping in with a chainer here. And they have their own effects, just like the grid. You have the chainer here. You can jump in and out of each one of these patterns. In the loop, it gives you these, like a step loop. You could then jump in and out of different loops just by randomizing here. Then you have loops, the actual length of them. Just turn it down like that. And they're just going to jump in and out of these. Let's turn it down to 1. And then let's turn the velocity more of like an LFO, or all the way across. So you have complete control of that, the steps, just like you did in the grid. You can edit, copy, and paste. And where this gets really interesting is you have the random. You can even randomize the loops that they play. So you get some interesting effects and textures this way as well. All right, so let's go over to the last part of the loop menu. The single loops actually give you a little extra added under the mutate here. You're going to see advanced loop. This is like as if you were to play with another sampler. You would have this broken out, sliced, laid across the keyboard. So the first key is always the full loop. Then you can just play individual ones or randomize it, tune it individually. Like this one right here, I could tune it down. And really mutate it and get some really unique sounds this way. You can also plug it in MIDI to host. If you click and hold right here, you can take this, if you're used to working in, let's say, like a MIDI host, you can have, right now it has the Steinway grand piano on there, which is not a big deal. We can copy the channel strip and just paste it on there. To give you an idea of what we're going to be doing here. Take this down here and completely randomize it this way. So then you can have complete control in your host as well, which is really, really cool. Now the multis here, they're geared towards, whereas we would be using one of these, it stacks them in a whole different way. So let me show you what I mean. Let's open up one of these, say yes, and it immediately automatically channels out each individual drum machine. So you have kicks, hi-hats, snares, etc., all lined up and mixable, so you can get a good mix. And you get some really cool, it just takes the whole thing to the next level. There's a whole bunch of signature artist multis as well, like Kaiser Disco and some of the other hybrid series right here, like Jason Graves, Joe, and then Kevin's here is probably some of my favorite. These are all production ready ones that are just ready to go. So you can see how awesome that sounds. Now, if you jump back to we're currently in the performance ones. These are more grid-based, and the production-ready ones are more geared towards recording in your digital audio workstation. The color even changes here, so you can kind of see what's going on here. And if you adjust your MIDI channels per device, you can actually see how each one works together. It's like this is MIDI channel 2, MIDI channel 1, and so on and so forth. So then you open up your host here, like Logic, and you can record in. You jump here. And get some really cool stuff that way. If you haven't already, go check out their website and just check out the trailers. This thing has over 3,000 some odd samples. Definitely worth checking out. And I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a nice day.